What's going on, guys? Stefan, S&E's Garage. Today, we're going to talk gearing. Alright guys, so for those of you that have been keeping up with this build, you'll know that we lifted it 2.5 inches with a budget rough country lift. And we used Grand Cherokee wheels, and we put 34-inch tires on them. They are technically, they're a metric tire size, so they are a 275/65/20, but it measures out to be a 34-inch tire. And then we went ahead and replaced the transmission amongst a couple of other things, front drive shaft, things like that. And with the new transmission, we were having some issues. Not really issues, because with the old transmission I couldn't use overdrive because the torque converter would shudder so bad that I had to drive with the overdrive off, so I didn't notice this. But with these tires and the original 373 gears, anytime the transmission would shift into overdrive and go into torque converter lockup, the RPMs of the engine would drop so low that the vehicle could not maintain speed. This has the 3.8 liter V6, which is really a underpowered engine for this vehicle to begin with. And at that point, I didn't want to burn up my new trans, because shifting in and out of overdrive, lockup, unlocking, lockup, unlocking, that's going to burn up the clutches. And I didn't want that at all. So we went ahead and got this thing regeared. Not only did we regear it, we did go with a DETROIT Truetrac carrier limited slip housing in the rear end. So now we have a limited slip posi traction rear end. We left the front open because it is the Dana 30. I didn't want to stress it. And that alone has made a huge improvement. Let's go in the garage. Let me show you the factory 300,000 mile gears. Let's see how they look. All right, guys, so like I said, our factory gears are a 373 ratio. And I just wanted to show you how this ring and pinion here looks for both the front and the rear. Obviously, on the left here, we have the Dana 30. It is a much smaller ring and pinion than the 44, which is obviously much larger. But for 300,000 miles, these gears are actually in fantastic shape. There is very minimal wear on the pinion and the ring for this front Dana 30, and that kind of makes sense because this diff is only under load when you have it in four-wheel drive. When you're in two-wheel drive, just driving, everything's just kind of spinning unloaded. So pretty normal for you not to have too much wear on that. Now the 44, like I said, this has 300,000 miles on it. You can definitely see some wear here. This is going to be your coast side, and then over here is going to be your driven side. So you can definitely see that there is some wear here, but believe it or not, everything was still in spec. The backlash wasn't bad. The bearings were in nice shape, and everything was good. And then we also have our factory carrier here with the original spider gears or side pinion gears, whatever you want to call them. And everything looked good in there as well. So I always like to keep my stock parts, just God forbid I ever want to put it back to stock. Not that I would change gears, because that's a huge job. In fact, I didn't even do the gears. I bartered with somebody. I have the know-how and the ability to do them, but it is very time-consuming. You have to sit there, change shims, get your backlash set, and I just don't have time for that with everything I have going on. So what we actually did is we bartered that 2004 Camry that we had with 320,000 miles. I gave the gentleman that for his labor because he needed a beater, and he went ahead and installed the gears for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put some pictures in that he sent me right here. And what you're looking at is the pinion preload, basically the crush washer, how he set the preload on the pinions. And then you're looking at the backlash that he set for the front and rear diff. And you'll see that he got them right on the lower end of the spec, the tighter side, which is the way ideally that you want it. So let's go ahead, let's take the Jeep for a ride. Let's talk about some of the supporting mods that you're going to need to regear, and take it from there. So I went with his recommendation of using Yukon gears, and I decided to, I went a little aggressive with the gearing. For 34-inch tires, I could have gotten away with a 456, but I am going to be towing jet skis with this thing, and that didn't really give me any room to go ahead and put bigger tires on this if I wanted. So we went with 488s, right around 80 miles an hour. I'm at 2,800 RPM. Here's a picture. And cruising around town, it's really perfect. And then in the woods, it's awesome. So let's go take her for a ride. So just driving around town, my fuel mileage has increased. I was getting around 16. I now get 19 because I'm actually able to use overdrive. Before the gearing, I couldn't get out of third gear because, like I said, as soon as it would shift into overdrive, the torque converter would lock up, and then it would unlock and downshift back into third, and it was like a process. Alright guys, so just driving around town, my mileage has increased from 16 to 19 miles to the gallon. And I attribute that to the fact that prior to doing the gears, I basically had a 3-speed trans because I could not use overdrive. It would just pop in and out of overdrive, and that's terrible for the trans. But let's just pay attention to these gear shifts real quick. So this is first gear, okay. There's second. Third. And fourth, and then there's our lockup. Unfortunately, we have to stop for a stop sign, so let's do that one more time. The street we're coming up to is a little bit longer here. First gear, second gear, third gear, there's fourth, and there's your lockup. So now at 40 miles an hour, I'm at around, what is that, around 1,300 RPM, and it will stay in overdrive, where prior to this, as soon as it went into overdrive, the RPMs would drop too low, and it would pop right back out. So we now have all 4 speeds back on our transmission. The trans is happy, the engine's happy, and everything is working that much better. Now, when you do regear and you do go with bigger tires on these, and you do want your speedometer to be correct, you're going to need some sort of scanner here. We went with a Super Chips, and what we were able to do is go ahead and program our tire size and our gear ratio in to the computer of the Jeep, so that the speedometer and the shift points would be correct. So regearing is probably the best modification that I've done for this Jeep yet, because it makes it completely streetable again. It's got more pickup now. It drives that much better. People say this 3.8 is underpowered. I'll agree with them, but with gears, it's tolerable, and it doesn't make me wish I had more power, if that makes sense. Out in the woods, it's perfect. Cruising down the street, it's perfect, and this is perfect. Now, we got these gears done at 270,000 miles. We are just shy of our 500-mile break-in. Once we hit that break-in, we're going to go ahead and replace the front and rear diff covers with something nice, and we're going to change that fluid. And I'm going to make a video on that. We are going to run 75-140 because we do, like I said, intend on towing with this. And we want these gears to last. So with that said, again, I kind of made this video as a guide for you guys if you're looking for 488s and you're on a 34 or 35-inch tire, just to kind of see with the 3.8 and the 4-speed. I wanted to show you how your trans would shift, what RPMs you'd be at. I did put a couple pictures in the video to show you where we're at 80 miles an hour, and hopefully that all helps you. So please, if you're interested in this Jeep and you're interested in this build, we do have some more things planned for it. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification. Make sure you get notified when I do uploads. And we'll see you guys next time.